This is the case control structure, chapter number 4. So in various situations, we encounter while in programming in real life that we have various options or various ways for single decision. Means there can be various alternative for a single input. So what we can have, we have already seen that we can have multiple if statements. Then rather than using this if statement, multiple if statement, we have something called as switch and case. So the decision using switch, this is a control statement. Now this allows us to make decision from the number of choices. We have a number of choices which are given inside this switch. So we can just call this switch as case, because the number of choices which are possible in switch, they are called as cases. So we'll call them as switch case construct or switch case default. All these keywords, they go together in order to make this switch case control statement. The syntax is like this. We write switch here. This inside the parenthesis is our integer expression. This is the integer expression. So this is matched with these cases. These are case, and they are followed by the number or the value which is to be equated or checked with this integer expression. And if this matches, we perform this activity. If this integer expression, it matches the constant to this one, then see, this is constant. This has to be constant always. Then constant 3, if it matches constant 3, this will be done. So depending upon which is the match, the corresponding case will be executed. If these cases does not match, then we go to default. This default is optional. Even if you don't write, there will be no problem. But here we see the case, inside this switch you can only have integer value. So the cases are matched one by one. But here, if you see properly, if this is int I equal to 2, this is a value, and as I said, in this switch, in the parenthesis, we can give only integer expression or integer constant. So if we give 2, then this 2 will go here. This is 2 will match with this 1. Because it is not matching, it will go to 2. It is matching, so it should print this line, I am in case 2. But if we see the result, we'll find out I am in case 2, I am in case 3, I am in default. All these 3 lines will be printed. So we just want this line to be printed because this case 2, this 2 is matching with the input value. For that, what is the possibility if we want to just come out of this loop when this case is actually matching this switch inside? Then we have to use a break. So what we will do, we'll use a break in order to come out of the innermost loop. This is how the program will be with using break. We want just this line to be printed, others not to be printed. So this is the same program with break inside it. So I equal to 2, now 2 will come. 2 will match with first case. As the case is not matching, this 2 is not equal to 1. 2 is not equal to 1. You can say like this. Then we say that this case will not work. Then we go to case 2. Since this 2 matches with this 2, this line will be printed. And then we'll not go to case 3 because we have a break. We come out of the loop. This is how it is done. If at all this I was 3, this 3 will be matched with 1, 2, it will not match. It will come to 3 and then this will be printed only. And after this, we have a break. So we'll come out. So corresponding case which matches with the switch entry will only be printed. The operation of switch is something like this. You start, these are number of cases. If the case match, then the statements, you don't need to put any braces. You can write any number of statements after the case. So these statement, or you can say statements, will be executed. Otherwise, we go to case 2, case 3, case 4. And if it is not there, we go to default. There is no necessity to write default. So this goes like this. We have switch and this is the choice. This choice should be matched with 1, 2, 3, 4, which it matches. If it matches any of these, this statement corresponding to that case will be executed and you come out of the switch case. So there are tips and traps when we are dealing with switch case construct. First of all, we have seen that in the program we have done up till now, the numbers or the cases were 1, 2, 3 like this. So there is a proper order, but this is not required. This is not essential. Means you can have the scrambled order. For example, you can have case 121 first, then 7, then 22. So there is no particular order, no ascending, no descending. So you can just 22 put here and check for 121, then 7, then 22. So this will be matched and this line will be printed. So this can be scrambled. There is no order which needs to be followed. Then you can also have a char value, character value. By virtue of character being the ASCII representation of the value which is understood by the computer, the character is essentially treated as integer only. So we have this value. There is a restriction that this value can only be integer expression. Now this is an integer expression. When you are putting single quotes for x, this x will give you output as the ASCII value. Now this ASCII value is compared with the ASCII value of v, ASCII value of a, ASCII value of x. And since this X matches with this X, this line will be printed. I am in case X. So this will be the result. And what this A and capital A, you want user to input A, B, C, and you are trying to make your program as case insensitive. So even if user enter small a or capital A, how to provide the both cases eligible to show this print line. For that you can do like this: case A, no break here, and case capital A. For both of these cases, this line will be printed. For both of these cases, this line will be printed. This you can do, right? For these both, even if the user places small c or capital C, this line will be executed, right? And you can have multiple statement in case. You don't have to put them in braces, right? So every statement in switch must belong to some case. If some line is there in switch case which is not belonging to any case, the compiler will not report any error. The compiler will just ignore it. I'll show you what is happening here. See, we have a printf, we are taking I, we are matching I with number of cases, say 1 and 2. But we have a line here also in switch. Compiler will not report any error, no error, but this line will never be executed. There will be no hello, because switch and case construct means you need to check this, so there will be a jump, table. So this goes to this jump table, so a table matching will be there. So this line will never be executed, or in fact compiler will ignore this line. If you have no default cases, no problem. Default cases is just because all the cases above, if they are not matching, then you go to default cases. Then inside this case, you cannot have any relational activity. You can just have a constant value. So this is not allowed. This is not allowed. Apart from this, there is one more restriction, that you can only have integer or character constant inside your switch. Float is not allowed. Float is not allowed. Though advantage which switch gives you is that it is very clean. Very clean. If you have multiple ifs, and this same program of switch can be written in terms of if and else. This is well to be understood, because if and else and switch are exactly same. The only thing is that switch is a sophisticated way to represent multiple if and else. You cannot put any relation in the case, but you can have this kind of expression in switch. This is perfectly legal. In switch you can have it, right? But in case you can have only constant value. You cannot have case A plus B. These are variables. You don't know the value of A and B. You can have constant value. The break statement, this is just to take you out from the inner switch, right? That is, you cannot use continue, because break is the obvious choice, because if the condition is met, you need to come out, and that is only possible when you are using the break. Then in this switch, inside switch we can have various switch, means nesting is possible, but rarely we do that. Whenever we are dealing with menu-driven program, switch is the best choice. So whenever you want to write some menu-driven program, please go to switch. Switch versus if-else ladder. As I said, switch and if-else ladder, they are exactly same. There are minor differences. Switch is a sophisticated form, a more, you can say, artistic form of writing if-else. So there are some things that you simply cannot do with switch. Means a float expression cannot be tested in a switch. You cannot have any variable inside your case. Okay, so multiple cases cannot use same expression. See, this is 3 and this is 1 plus 2 is also 3. This is not allowed. You cannot have multiple these values, multiple equal values in a case. So if else and switch. The most important thing is switch is very clean, and switch is faster than if else. How? Because when we are dealing with switch, the program actually makes a jump table. So it simply takes the value inside the switch and it just matches from that table the case content. So it is pretty fast. So if we have multiple cases in switch, it is very fast than if else. But if you have just 2 cases or 1 case inside your switch, if else will always be fast, because making of a jump table will take more time than doing the if else. I hope you got the idea. If you have multiple switch case, the best is to switch case. But if you have just 2 or 3 switch cases, don't use switch case, go to if else. Okay, the go to keyword. This go to keyword takes your control to any part of the program. In MISRA C, MISRA C++, or there are various other, various different programming practices or programming rules. They say don't use go to. We have seen catastrophic, disaster. We have seen some disaster which actually because of software and when the program was seen, there was go to. So that is why the motor industry standard or reliability assessment and all those, there are so many. They all say don't use go to keyword. So just avoid go to keyword, because they will make your life little miserable, right? there is one chance, or there's few chances I'll tell you where you have to use goto, but if you use goto, your program will become unreliable, unreadable, and very difficult to debug, right? But always goto is seductive, so various programmers go for goto, right? So goto takes you to any part of the program, but in fact you can write the same program with if, for, while, and switch. This is more elegant way. And the problem, again, some problem which we just indicated, the big problem with goto is you don't know where your flow of control has gone. You can skip a part. That means that part or that portion will be unreachable code. You can go anywhere, and these, if you have multiple gotos, then it will be very difficult to handle your program. So I'll give you an example. This is simple example that you are having some goals. You want how many goals are scored by India. You take it in goals, and if goals is less than 5, then you go to SOS. This SOS followed by a colon is the flow of control. It will take you to the control. This will never be executed if the goals remain less than or equal to 5. If it is greater than 5, then you go here. I hope you got the idea. So this is the output. This seems very good here, that your control is being transferred. But when you have a large program, then goto creates problem. Goto does not create a problem basically. Basically the flow of control creates the problem. So if the condition is satisfied, the goto statement transfer control to this SOS, which you have seen that will be printed, and this label can be on a separate line or on the same line as the statement, like this. You can have a line here after SOS colon. You can have it in separate line also. And you can have any number, multiple number of gotos in your program. This exit function, as you just saw, is the standard library function as you just saw. Okay. Now here is one situation where goto can be used. When you have multiple or various numbers of nesting of loops. See, this is for, inside you have a for, inside you have a for, and then inside you have if else. Now when you want to come out of this loop, what you can do? You can use break, but that will take you only out of this loop, that is the innermost loop. Still you will be inside these loop. You want to come out of the innermost loop inside nested construct. For that you can use goto. So if some certain situation is not met, you can just come out of the whole scenario, whole nesting. You will come out and you will print out of the loop at last. I hope you got the idea. So let us summarize what we have seen. When we need to choose one among number of alternatives, we use switch. The switch keyword, or it is only followed by integer or an integer expression that would evaluate to integer. That is why we can use the character also, because internally they are treated as ASCII value. The case keyword is followed by an integer or a character constant. The control falls through all the cases unless the break is encountered. The usage of goto keyword should be avoided, usually, because it violates the normal flow of execution. So this is all about this chapter. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.